Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we sift through corporate filings so you don't have to. Today we are going to look at a report from Glacier Bancorp, and while the name might sound like a quiet mountain town, this report has some news that's anything but frozen in place. We are looking at a Form 8K filing, which is basically a company saying, hey, something important happened and we need to tell everyone right now. In this case, it's about an acquisition, which is when one company buys another. The report is dated April 9, 2025, so it's pretty fresh. The main point of this filing is to announce that Glacier Bancorp is buying Bank of Idaho Holding Co. Glacier Bancorp, that's the buyer, is a bank holding company. Think of it as the parent company of a bunch of smaller banks. They're based out of Montana. Bank of Idaho Holding Co., or Boyd, is unsurprisingly the holding company for Bank of Idaho. So Glacier is buying the whole package. The big news here is that Glacier Bancorp has received all the necessary approvals from the government to go ahead with this deal. That's a big hurdle cleared. Now, before we get too excited, there's always some fine print. This report includes what they call forward-looking statements. Basically, the company is making predictions about the future, and they want to make sure you know that those predictions might not come true. There are risks involved, like maybe the deal takes longer than expected, or maybe the benefits they expect don't actually happen. They talk about things like changes in the economy, competition, and how well the two banks can work together. One key risk is that the deal might not even close if they don't get the final approvals or if things change. Even if it does close, there is a risk that the banks won't integrate successfully, which could hurt their performance. They also worry about how customers and employees will react to the merger. People might leave, which could cause problems. They also mentioned that if you want to dig deeper, you can find more information about the deal in a registration statement they filed with the SEC. It includes a proxy statement, which is a document used to get shareholders to vote on the deal. The most interesting part of this report is Exhibit 99.1, which is the press release about the acquisition. The press release announces that Glacier Bancorp has received all regulatory approvals for the acquisition of Boyd. They expect the deal to close in the second quarter of 2025, so around June. Once the deal closes, Bank of Idaho will operate as a division of Glacier Bank. Now, let's step back and think about what this all means. Glacier Bancorp is growing by buying another bank. This is a pretty common strategy in the banking world. It allows them to expand their reach and potentially become more profitable. Getting regulatory approval is a big step, and it suggests that the government doesn't see any major problems with the deal. However, there are still risks. Integrating two banks can be difficult, and there's always a chance that things won't go as planned. Glacier Bancorp needs to make sure that they can successfully combine the operations of Bank of Idaho with their own. They also need to keep customers and employees happy during the transition. Overall, this report is a positive sign for Glacier Bancorp. They're expanding their business and taking advantage of opportunities in the market. But as always, it's important to remember that there are risks involved, and the future is never certain. And so what's my take on Glacier Bancorp after reading this? Glacier seems to be on a steady course of expansion. Acquiring other banks is their main strategy, and so far they seem to be doing it well. They are clearly focused on growing their market share. One potential weakness could be overpaying for acquisitions. It will be interesting to see the returns from this acquisition compared to prior ones. One notable risk is the integration process after an acquisition. Combining two different banks with different systems and cultures can be tricky. If they don't manage it well, it could lead to problems. In conclusion, Glacier Bancorp appears to be a well-managed company with a clear strategy for growth. The acquisition of Bank of Idaho is a positive step, but they need to execute the integration successfully to realize the full benefits. Thanks for watching. If you found this corporate decoder breakdown helpful, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of corporate filings. Let me know in the comments what company you'd like me to decode next.